If you're an online coach who is already operating and making around about £10,000 or euros or dollars per month, but you've hit a bit of a bottleneck and you can't scale past that income level and you want to start hitting consistent 20K months and beyond, in this video, I'm going to demonstrate very simply the 3 most common bottlenecks that coaches stuck at 10K per month experience, and I'm going to give you tactical advice to help you move past all of those barriers step by step. So look, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get to consistent 20K months online selling your coaching, okay? So we can chunk this down into 3 really key areas. And we're going to start with this one here, which is you need more traffic, more lead flow. You need more eyeballs, more interest in what it is that you're doing. So let's break this down. There's a couple of things that we can address. Number 1 is ads. If you're not already running ads, if all of your traffic is coming through organic content, word of mouth, referrals, things of that nature, then ads is a really obvious solution. Now, one of the things that I'll say is when you're at sort of 10K per month, you're not in a position financially to invest huge amounts of money every single month in an agency, in learning how to run ads effectively, and then the ad spend itself. So you're kind of in this difficult between a rock and a hard place situation where you're not super profitable and you can splash out unless you've got lots of savings, which is awesome. But you ultimately do need to turn lead flow on. You do need to increase traffic. So something needs to happen. So what I really recommend at this stage of your journey is running really simple. I call them growth tax ads. And growth tax ads are profile visit ads, and they are optimized with SEO and really good copy to get in front of your ideal clients. And all we basically do is drive more traffic to your short form platform like Instagram, okay? So you're getting new followers on Instagram, and as long as you have a really good outbound process for introducing yourself to new followers and pushing those people deeper into your ecosystem by taking your lead magnets, your long form content, things of that nature, you can build your pipeline quite quickly. And the benefit of this is that these ads are unbelievably easy to set up and run, but they're also really cost effective because we're keeping the leads on the Instagram platform rather than taking them away onto a landing page as most ad strategies will do. So very low cost, still really effective so long as you have a great follow-up process with those new followers. So that's what I would recommend there. The other thing that we can look at is your content. Now, we can split content into a few areas of consideration. Number 1, we could just do more content. Now, if you're at 10K per month, you're probably serving a fair few clients. You're making content already. It may not seem viable for you to just up the ante on the amount of content that you're making. So again, this is why 10K per month is often a really big sticking point for coaches, is because you're kind of in this rock and a hard place situation where you know you need to do more. You need to hustle a little bit at this point to break through to consistent 20K months. But it feels difficult to do so because you're already spread quite thin and you're already operating with a lot of work in the business. So sometimes the answer isn't always more. Sometimes it's just better. You know, when you start hitting 10K months, you kind of, if you're not careful, you can rest on your laurels. You think you kind of made it. You know, I'm making 6 figures a year. You're making internet money. People are paying you from nothing, and it just feels really cool. And you kind of rest on your laurels. You kind of stop pushing as hard as you did when you first started the business. So being really self-aware and hypercritical about the quality of the content that you're putting out, thinking about the copywriting, thinking about, are you shifting people's beliefs? Are you really positioning yourself as the only logical solution for your coaching in your niche? Like really doubling down on doing better with the stuff that you're already doing can often yield a significant increase in the amount of book sales calls that you get, so on and so forth. But if you are able to, doing more is a great option. You know, whether that's expanding to another platform, like if you're not already doing long form content, but you're just doing short form, start making long form content. Maybe it's just upping the amount of, if you know that your short form content is great and it does bring you in leads and book sales calls, if you did more of that, would it get you more sales calls? Potentially. So this is something that you can think about. The next thing is, and this is often overlooked, is like, okay, follow-ups. What is your current follow-up process? Are you re-engaging with old leads? People who have booked in sales calls in the past, but didn't convert for whatever reason. Are you following up with people who recently followed your account? What is your current process? Are you spending enough time and energy engaging with your audience, moving your people through your pipeline, getting people closer to being a paying client? That's what I want you to think about, is like, how much time and energy am I spending on taking people from not likely to buy to very likely to buy? Okay. We need to put some focus and attention in those areas. So that is how, if we're looking at getting more traffic, more lead flow, those would be my immediate port of calls. Okay. Can I run ads? If so, keep it simple with growth tax ads. Can I do more content, or should I just do better content? Be really self-aware here. Am I following up enough? Am I actually being more efficient with my current leads? Do I actually need more leads, or do I need to be more efficient with the leads that I already have? And am I moving my pipeline closer towards wanting to work with me? Or am I just like getting leads, speaking to them once, and then never speaking to them again? Okay. Hey, dude, very quickly, if you're enjoying this video and you're enjoying the other videos on this channel, but you feel like you need some more one-to-one support with growing your coaching business, then I would love to speak with you. I've left all of the instructions in the description of this video. Drop me a message. Let's have a chat about you, your goals, and let's see if we're a fit to work together. Speak to you soon. Let's get back to the video. So the second area that we can look at as a potential bottleneck here is improved/more profitable conversions. So what does that mean? Well, you might be getting leads, you might be getting booked sales calls, but are you converting those calls and those leads into paying clients? So if the answer is no, and I would say the answer is no, especially if the traffic is warm, so it's not from cold traffic like ads, which if you're at 10K per month, I'm going to assume that you're not running that many ads. If the traffic is warm and you're not converting at a percentage rate above 50%, then I would say that there's potentially a skill problem here. So let me just get this back. There's probably a skill problem here. So what I mean is that your skills as a salesperson are not good enough. Okay, you are not converting at a percentage rate higher than 50%. And so you need to brush up on your skills on sales. Okay, that is a potential area. And again, you're going to need a level of self-awareness to actually sit down and say to yourself, am I good enough at sales, or is this an area that I need to reinvest and improve and get better? Another thing that you can look at is long form content. Now, when done well, your marketing will do a lot of the heavy lifting for you, and sales calls can become really just like a formality. Part of the reason that I make these long YouTube videos and podcasts is because it helps make sales effortless. Most of my prospects jump on sales calls or inquire about working with us, and they're pre-sold because they've consumed enough of my content to know me, to like me, to trust me, and to know that I can help them with their problems. Okay, so if you're not already, long form content could be a really great addition to help making your sales more efficient. Proof. Are you sharing enough social proof that if people pay you, they're going to get the result? That is the whole purpose of us sharing consistent social proof on our platforms, is we want to make, again, sales, this key word here, we want to make sales effortless. And we do that by regularly showcasing social proof and putting people's mind at ease that if they invest in us, they're going to get the result they came for. And then we can also look at your offer. If you're not converting above 50% on your sales calls, maybe the offer needs adjusting. Are you priced too low? I know that sounds ridiculous, but people make assumptions about the quality of a product or service if it's too cheap. If I'm buying a watch and there's a watch for $100 and there's a watch for $1,000, without knowing anything about the manufacturer or the material that was used or the quality of the watch, I instantly assume that the watch that costs $1,000 is of higher quality. So this is subconscious. And this is the same with when you're selling coaching, right? Your price has a direct impact on the perception of its value, okay? So you could also, the other way, be too high. Maybe you don't have enough social proof, results, credibility, experience, expertise in what you're selling to warrant charging the price that you are asking for, okay? Could you add in some sort of conditional guarantee? You know, this is quite difficult to do in coaching because it's hard to guarantee things, but sometimes adding these things in makes it a little bit easier for people to convert into paying clients. And then if you're using sales team like closers, which I hope you're not at 10K per month, but if you are, perhaps your team need more training on your offer, more training on what you do, and just more sales skills themselves, okay? Now, you'll notice that I also put in here more profitable conversions. What I basically mean by that is, even if you were converting at 50% conversion rate, for example, but if you were able to charge a higher price, so maybe you are undercharging, if you were able to take your prices up by $200 per client or $100 per client, and you carried on converting at the same percentage rate, your business would absolutely grow and you would start hitting those 20K months, okay? So that is a consideration. You know, if you are priced too low, just by making your conversions more profitable by charging more, you're going to grow your business. It seems stupidly obvious, but it's massively overlooked by business owners who are stuck at 10K per month. Just increase your prices if you can, if the market's willing to pay it, okay? And then the third and final thing that we can look at here is your scalable model. So if you're stuck at 10K per month, it may not be because you're not getting enough eyeballs, you're not getting enough traffic or lead flow. It may not be because you're not converting as many of those leads into paying clients. You could be absolutely great in all of those areas. You just feel stuck at 10K per month because you are at capacity with the people that you can work with. So I want to break this down for you. The first thing that we want to address, because this is going to be the biggest and easiest lever to manage, is your systems. What can we automate? You know, what can we streamline? What currently, and go through your entire client journey with a fine-tooth comb, go right back. Imagine that you're a new client signing up. What areas require your manual touch point, and where are you spending a lot of time answering frequently asked questions? Where are you having to explain things? And how can we streamline that and automate it so that you're spending less time doing admin and more time working with your clients? So systems is the first place to look whenever your bottleneck is your model and your ability to scale. The next thing that I would like you to think about is paid content. So quite a lot of the time, we can't scale past 10K per month in a coaching business because it requires us to speak to the client and explain everything to them to help them get the result before they can actually get what they came for. But a lot of the time, we can teach our clients what they need to know with content. So a video like this, but made specifically for your paid clients. So it's not something that goes up on YouTube. It's something that lives behind a paid wall. Okay, so it might be in a school platform, a circle platform, Kajabi, whatever. But there are lots of things that you are every single week manually explaining to clients that you work with to help them get their result, that you could quite easily record a video training, a lesson, put some resources together that will help them unlock that result that they're looking for without it taking your time every single week. Okay, so paid content is where I would look next. Sometimes it's just a case of the expectations and the boundaries that have been set between you and the client are not good enough. You know, if you find that you have clients messaging you every single day, asking you stupid questions, right? And, you know, demanding your time and energy, then maybe you need to have a difficult conversation at the start of working with a client and say, look, this is the rules of engagement with communication. It's absolutely an open door policy, but you know, this is big boys rules, big girls rules. Ask questions in the public forum first, and then I will respond to those within 24 hours. Just be really clear on what your boundaries are. If you feel like your clients are taking the mic a little bit and they are demanding so much of you that you physically can't work with any more clients, that might be a case of you needing to set some more clear boundaries. And then another thing is creating a culture whereby you give your clients autonomy, okay? Give them autonomy to, yes, use you when they need you, but also work things out for themselves. Okay, so whether that's letting them speak among one another in a group environment, which is what I do in Slack, or letting them ask me questions, but saying, look, when you ask me a question, I use something from Dan Martell. It's called the 131 framework. So the 131 framework is essentially where you say, okay, what is the one problem that you're having? What's the one problem that you're having? What are the three potential solutions that you propose? And what's the one potential solution of those three that you are most inclined to take? And then what you do is you create an environment with your clients where they come to you with their problems, but having already, with autonomy, had a good serious think about how they potentially work through those problems. And then your goal as the coach is really just to help people make the right decision for them. Okay. And it makes your workload a lot better. Okay. So that is it, guys. If you are stuck at 10K per month and you want to get to 20K months in the shortest time frame possible, you've got one of three roadblocks. And this diagram here shows you how to handle each of those roadblocks step by step. So hopefully this video has been useful. Go and check out another video on the channel, and I will speak to you very soon. Peace and love.